All right, we're here in the. I'm sitting in the big chair here in the 92.9 WEZQ studio because WDEA is like dead right now. But I'm on the phone Monday, and no rest for the weary with Coach Mark Shields from the MDI high school team. And Coach, congratulations! A really, really big, important victory down in Madison on Friday night.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. We talked about it all last week, and not to overlook Herman and John Bapps, but we knew we'd have Madison after those two teams, and we knew we had to take care of business against those two teams, and knowing that going down to Madison was going to be a huge game for us. We would have to play our best football to beat them, and honestly, I don't think we played our best football, but I think we played hard, and we made the plays when we had to, and just a huge win for us to solidify a spot in the playoffs and keep moving forward and hopefully moving up, the ladder in the playoff look later on the season.
For the fifth game, or for the sixth time in a row, MDI scores on their first possession. And boy, I'll tell you, wasn't that a fantastic drive? 17 plays, used up close to 7 minutes of time. And you talk about ground and pound. It was there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was old school MDI, what we've been doing down here for a long time. And, to take 17 plays to get in, and along with those 17 plays, we had to fake a punt, a great pass by Isaiah Keene to Abram Malloy in the flat to get a first down when it was 4th and long. And, you look back at the game, and if we don't complete that pass on that fake punt, who knows? We might be pretty unhappy this morning thinking that we may have lost the game. So, yeah, like we keep saying, it's good to come out early, and I was pretty close to kicking off if we won the toss. And
really?
Yeah, I really was, because I wasn't sure the field was pretty damp when we got down there, and my philosophy is always, if the field's wet, we'll kick off and see if we can hold them, and maybe they'll turn the ball over. But it just didn't seem that wet to do that, and one of my assistants, Mark Arnold, my defensive coordinator, said, you know what, why don't we take the ball and see if we get an early start? And, sure enough, I'm glad we did. A long sustained drive. Kids did a real nice job, and we're able to, get in the end zone. So, yeah, I mean, that's a trend that we hope continues, because, the team that gets out early obviously has a big advantage.
Troy Albee was a beast on Friday night.
Yeah, you look at Troy Albee, and he's only a sophomore, and you think, wow, what's this guy going to be like 2 years from now when he's a senior? And he was amazing. I mean, we pretty much just put the team on his back offensively and said, we're going to ride you to victory, and that's exactly what we did. And he was an animal for sure, and had some big carries, and he's good with ball maintenance. He doesn't normally put the ball on the ground, and sure enough, he didn't. And even right down to basically the last big play of the game for us, when it was 4th and about 1.5 yards, and we needed to get a first down, and there was no second thought in my mind that he wasn't going to get the ball. And we had a nice block up front by our line, and we led with our halfback. Tanner Bickford had a great block, and Corey was able to rumble for 6-7 yards and get that first down, so we could bleed the clock down to 0 and win the game. So yeah, hats off to him, and hats off to our offensive line for opening up some holes for him.
It looked like the Madison defense was keying on Tanner. They were ready for him, but they were also really good at shooting some of the gaps.
Yeah, Madison's defense, hats off to them. They were much stronger than we thought they were going to be. I mean, we obviously had seen them on tape against a few teams, and we thought we were going to be able to move the ball a lot better against them. And in the first half, we had 3 scores, but we had to earn every one of those scores because, there it is, the first drive took 17 plays. So they made us earn everything that we got, and, they played well. They were strong up front. Their defensive tackles were hard to move, and you're right, they were shooting their linebackers through our gaps and disrupting what we wanted to do. And, they had a good night defensively. I mean, we didn't score in the second half, so that tells you right there that they're solid defensively.
This was the first time that I saw MDI come out a little flat at the end of the first half as we started the second half. Your impression on that?
Yep, no doubt about it. I mean, that's something that we will talk about this week In big games, you cannot come out flat in the third quarter. I thought we came out a little flat against Winslow in the third quarter. And then both games, against Winslow and Madison, I thought the fourth quarter we played hard, but you just can't do that. And we knew going into halftime, we're up 22-7, but we knew that they were able to score quickly. They have a high-powered offense, and they're playing good defense. So, we knew that it wouldn't take much for them to get back in the game if we didn't take care of business. And sure enough, they did. They came right out. Their first drive and a few plays there in the end zone, and then we throw a pick six, and next thing you know, you got yourself a ball game. And
oh yeah,
credit to my kids. I was real proud of them. I mean, at that point, we could have easily tanked, and they could have beaten us by 2 or 3 scores. But our guys, they stepped up, and they weren't going to be denied. And thank goodness for the defense, because those guys came up big all night long in the second half.
It also shows the importance of those special teams. I mean, you got a 2-point conversion, and Drew Rich's kicks were good. And I mean, when you have a 2-point difference, every little point is crucial.
Absolutely. And we talked about that after the Belfast game we had here at home. And, we had 4 scores, and we only have 24 points because we didn't get 1 extra point.
Right.
We went for 2. We tried to kick, and we got nothing that night. And we've worked real hard on that in practice, because we know down the stretch, just like against Madison, that you're right. Like you said, those points, 1, 2, 3 points, are huge in big games. And sure enough, here it is. We beat them by 2 points, and that came down to us getting a 2-point conversion and us stopping them on their 2-point conversion. So those are huge, and they don't seem that big in the game at the time. But boy, when you get down the stretch late in the game, they're huge.
All right, let's do our Monday morning grading here. Offense.
Yeah, offensively, there's a lot of room for improvement. We went back and looked at the film yesterday as a staff, and I gave kudos to my offensive line the week before, and I thought they played solid overall, but we still, we got to drive our legs, and we got to get into men. And I don't know if we overlooked Madison's defensive line or not, but they disrupted us a lot on what we wanted to do, and so that needs to get better. Our backfield, and I coach the back, so this is on me. We need to block better. I thought we missed a lot of blocks at times, and sometimes we get into our man, but we wouldn't drive our legs, and they'd get by us. So there's a lot of room for improvement. Once again, pass protection. They were all over our quarterback most of the night. That's something, if we want to win big games, like we keep saying, we got to get better at our pass game, and our pass game was not good Friday night against Madison. So that's something, we definitely were going to work on hard this week. And this week's a big one to get back to fundamentals offensively. We're going to be back, blocking is a big thing we're going to work on this week. I mean, sometimes it becomes a real simple game. If you don't block well, you're not going to do well offensively. So, offensively, I thought we were, maybe a high C, low B. Definitely room for improvement. Defensively, I thought we were solid most of the night. We knew against this team that, they could put some points on the board, and, really we held them to 2 scores, and we gave up a touchdown on our offense, through our offense with a pick six. So that wasn't on the defense. And, when they had to make big plays, they did. And late in the game, Isaiah Keene came up with the biggest play of the game probably when he knocked that pass down on 4th down to just kind of steal the win. And so I'd give those guys, a high B, low A. And once again, I thought special teams, I thought we played pretty well, but we did give up a blocked punt. And once again, that was down to blocking. I have a guy on the wing, and he just lets the defensive end go by and then blocks the punt. So that's stuff that we need to get better at. And once again, that's all back to fundamentals. So, sometimes you focus so much on strategy and you run a lot of team stuff in practice, but a lot of times you win games through just fundamentals and get better at that. So, I'd say special teams, I would say they're a high B, but giving up a blocked punt, that's not good, especially late in the game when Madison's trying to make a run. So there's room for improvement there. So, overall, I thought our kids played really hard. But fundamentally, we need to do a lot better if we're going to win big games.
There are a lot of penalties as well.
Yep, absolutely.
And some silly ones in terms of lining up offsides. I mean, that's check where the ball is, check where your feet are.
Yep, that's all simple stuff. And, most of that stuff is just mental mistakes. And, lining up over the ball, that's a mental mistake that we can't have because, we got the type of offense that, a lot of times, like that first drive took 17 plays. we're picking up maybe 3-4 yards a pop, and then you might get 1 yard a pop, and it takes us to get 10 yards to get a first down. We need all 4 downs to make that happen. So when we start off first, 15 or first and 20 because we had a silly penalty, that really hurts us in our scheme.
Right. You talk about Isaiah's play in the end zone. I mean, boy, I'll tell you, didn't he close quickly on that receiver? I mean, it seemed like out of nowhere, and then he did a fantastic job. And a couple plays earlier, you had a pass interference call that probably wasn't a pass interference call. I thought that one might have been a borderline pass interference call in the end zone.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, looking at the tape, the pass interference call they called on us, in my mind, definitely was not pass interference. I mean, the ball was already gone, and then we hit the kid. And then the one with Isaiah, he was super aggressive, and we worked hard on that all week. We thought, we talked about this in weeks past on this show, that our defensive backs have to be better at playing the ball, playing the ball in the air and elevating and knocking the ball down or intercepting it. And we worked real hard on that this past week, getting ready for Madison, because we knew they had such a high-powered pass game, and they would be throwing the ball deep. So Isaiah, he did exactly what he was coached up to do. He made a great play. He was physical with the play, and yeah, there was definitely some contact there. And but I'll take that every time. If a guy's going to go up hard and play the ball, and whether they got into the guy or not, that's kind of up to the officials. Unfortunately, they didn't call it, and we were able to get the ball back. But yeah, that was a huge play in the game.
All right, I know you got to go to practice. What do you want to say to everybody? A big game coming up, the last home game. It's senior night. It's homecoming. It's the class of 2015 being inducted into the Hall of Fame. There's a lot going on this Friday night.
Yeah, thank you once again for your continued support of MDI football. We had a decent crowd down there, even though it was a rainy night in Madison. I know it's a long ride, and we're expecting a big crowd down here. Like you said, it's homecoming, it's senior night, it's the Hall of Fame inductions. There's a lot going on, and we're going to need everybody's support, and hopefully we have a huge crowd and it gets really loud down here Friday night against Oceanside.
All right, Coach. Best of luck this week. We'll talk to you on Thursday, and on Thursday we'll look at the seniors on senior night, getting ready for senior night.
Sounds good, Chris. Thank you.